Welcome to Mind Renovation Nation, the show that equips, challenges, and empowers small multifamily investors to think differently, act boldly, and grow strategically. Brought to you by Red Maples, a real estate performance advisory service for small multifamily investors. This show is hosted by Nathan Bush, a seasoned property manager, leadership coach, and creator of the Caesar Method. Each episode dives deep into lessons from real-world experience, conversations with trusted mentors, and the proven strategies Nathan has used to build and manage successful real estate ventures. Today's episode is all about what's on Nathan's mind: raw, relevant, and real. If you're tuning in live, don't forget to drop your questions in the comments. Nathan will tackle as many as time allows. Subscribe now on YouTube for more actionable insights, and visit nathanbushmba.com for free resources to help grow your real estate business. It's time to renovate your thinking and elevate your results.
Look, guys, raise your hand if you've ever said something like this to yourself. If I just had more leads, I'd close more leases. A quick show of hands. I know we're going to see you online. So if you're online and you're not joining me live on the behind the scenes effort here, I see you guys raising your hand there. Raise your hand though, or put me in the comments if you ever said to yourself, if I just had more leads, I'd close more leases. Or how about this one? The renters just aren't that serious. Is that you? Put me in the comments if that's you. How about you guys down there raising your hand? Yep. Everybody's hands up right now. How about this? Have you ever said this to yourself? The market is so weird right now. It's impossible to hit my numbers. Okay, it's okay, guys. I've said all these things to myself. And yeah, sure, they feel true. But today, I'm going to show you the real reason your leasing feels stuck. And it's not what you think. Let's go to the root. Because when you shift this one thing, your leasing accelerates, period. I'll tell you a quick story. A number of years ago, I had a small apartment community that we were leasing for, and there was about 12 to 15 doors there. And the owners had turned it over to us because the previous property management company put some bad tenants in there, and then they ran all the good tenants out. Okay, so we got the building, and there was maybe 2 or 3 bad tenants in there, and out of the 12 or 15 tenants, it was out. And so we had to evict those bad tenants and get rid of them. Took about 45 to 60 days to do so. And then after the 45 to 60 days to get those bad tenants out, we were able to start filling the building back up from zero. I was able to do it in 4 months. 4 months, fill the entire building up. Why? That was a couple of years ago. Well, even just this past year, 9 months, 29 units we filled up. If you've watched any of the replays or been on any of the shows, why does this happen? It's not what you think, guys. It's not the ads. It's not the leasing copy. It's not the houses. It's not the location of the property. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Number one, we're going to uncover today some of the hidden reasons that your leasing feels stuck. You'll walk away with understanding why tactics alone don't fix these numbers. And then lastly, we're going to shift from pressure-based selling to purpose-driven leadership. And we're going to do all of that in the full 30 to 45 minutes that we're together this afternoon, learning all about how to shape our minds in order to be able to lease like a conqueror. Now, I said lease like a conqueror. On the screen, you'll see, I'm going to pop up for those that are watching live. Those that are listening to the audio only, I'm going to read off to you this program that I'm designing called Lease Like a Conqueror. In Module 1, you get the leasing mindset of a conqueror. The objective of this lesson is to reset the foundation and replace your guesswork with intention. Objective 2 is building your leasing systems and architecture. The objective of this is to help you understand how systems build equity and consistency. In module number 3, we're going to go through mastering the first contact, the call, the text, the email, and we'll teach you how to convert these leads into qualified prospects. Module number 4, we're going to go over the 5 questions that guide every leasing conversation. And I'm going to teach you how to learn how people make decisions. Okay, that's what you'll learn. And you're going to get a guide on how to guide them without manipulation. Then we're going to learn the leasing psychology and leasing behavior. Self-explanatory. We're going to go through showing strategies and tour scripts. Module number 7, we got objection handling with the Caesar method framework, my proprietary trademark method for dealing with rapid strategic growth. And so we teach you the Caesar method ways of handling objections. We've got the application process mastery on module number 8. And module number 9 is screening with discernment, not discrimination. And module number 10 is going to be approval, deposits, and move-in protocols. The whole reason we created module number 10 was to help you create a predictable, professional onboarding experience for tenants, okay? So at module number 11 is preventing vacancy gaps. We're going to help you create proactive leasing cycles with no wasted weeks. And module number 12, which is the leasing metrics that matter, understand what numbers that you need to see. There's actually a series of other modules that are included in the Lease Like a Conqueror framework, but I wanted to share with you what I've been working on behind the scenes and what I've been putting together. Today, we're going to go over one aspect of those modules. It's not even a full module today, okay? The Lease Like a Conqueror framework that I'm building out is comprehensive. It will be the cornerstone of how Red Maples and myself, we have been leasing and learned to lease over the last 15 plus years. And the cool thing is it's not just my leasing acumen, guys. This has been formulated with some of the best people in the property management industry. My business partner being one of them, one of the smartest people I know when it comes to leasing and how to put together leasing systems. And so we're putting together this framework that's going to be available and it's going to be out there. And it's going to be something that we're going to be teaching with and teaching from. And hopefully there's a bunch of other materials that come from that. But I wanted to throw that out there to you today to help you understand that I'm just sharing with you one tiny piece, okay? Today we're going to cover just one tiny piece of the Lease Like a Conqueror framework. Now, have you ever said this? Have I just had more leads? The renters aren't that serious, or the market is just weird right now. Today, we're going to get to the real reason you feel stuck. Here's the real reason you feel stuck. This is what most people think they need, okay? This is what they think they need. They think they need a better CRM. I'm going to tell you right now that CRMs are helpful, but they're not the solution to why you're not leasing. Okay, they're not the solution as to why you're not leasing to quality tenants, and they're not the solution as to why you're not achieving your goals as fast as you'd like to in your business. You think you need more ads or more traffic? As I've been through this process of trying to go through and figure out why the leasing isn't happening, it's not happening, it's not going the way I want it to. I'm not finding the right tenants. We're not getting good application flow on this particular property. I've gone through this process. Okay, it's not the CRM, it's not the ads or more traffic, it's not more inventory. You don't need to have more property. You don't need to have better property to show. That's not how you lease more property and lease it faster to the right people who pay their rent. There is a prospect for the home. Within reason and respect, there's a prospect for every single home out there. And then lastly, it's not a magic script. If you think that I'm going to give you some type of magic script, I'm not. Okay, so think about a time where you had a strong property, you had some decent traffic, but you weren't signing leases. Did you tweak everything? Did you go through like we did and tweak the ads, tweak your follow-up, how many calls you're making, follow-up calls? You try to change the process, and then you started to think, okay, well, maybe it's the market. The market is shifting, okay? I want you to think about GPS versus a map. Leasing with a script but no internal clarity is like trying to navigate with a paper map without knowing where you are. You've got all the tools, okay? You already have it. You have a script. You have some type of scripting that you follow, hopefully. You have some type of CRM, a price sheet, but you're unclear on your own leadership identity. See, this is the problem. You don't know your voice. You don't know your presence. You don't know your own emotional intelligence. You're like someone trying to find a destination with no blueprint dot on the map. The script isn't the problem, guys. It's the fact that you're not anchored in where you are. Confidence, well, this comes from clarity. Leasing improves the moment you stop relying on the map and you start turning to the internal GPS system that you have. Okay? It's not any of these things. You don't need anything better. You don't need better written ads. You don't need a better CRM. You don't need more inventory. You don't need a magic script. I can provide all those things for you. I can do all of those things. I can tell you exactly the CRM systems that we use. I can tell you exactly how to write an ad. I can tell you exactly. It doesn't mean that you're going to have a better leasing outcome just because you do these things. Here's where the better outcome comes from. Most leasing agents show up like a flashlight. They're narrow, they're focused, and they're technical. They're technical. But the best ones, well, those best leasing agents, they show up like floodlights, illuminating the whole path forward. You see how the flashlight just shows one area? That's all somebody can see. Here's what a floodlight does. It shows the whole home, the whole experience that somebody's about to make, the decision that somebody's about to make for their life. The flashlight points out what's in front of them, okay? The flashlight is the leasing agent who points out the stainless steel appliances, the move-in dates, the deposit breakdown, the technical aspects of the home in the leasing process. This is where the biggest mistakes are made. They're made in trying to shine a flashlight on the features and benefits and process of the property. Here's what the floodlight does. Would you like to know what a floodlight agent does? How a Conqueror leases a property? Well, here's what they do. The floodlight says, what would your life feel like here? Big difference. The floodlight agent says, here's how it could feel to live in our property. Here's what your experience will be like. Let me help you see if this fits your goals. Here's how you can thrive in this particular community. The floodlight leasing is what happens when you stop pushing the product and start painting the possibility. You've got to let go of fear to trap people and start leading people by what you're showing them, that you have faith that they're going to make a good decision. You got to stop leading by control and getting them to purchase from you out of control and start having confidence in your product and service. Okay? You got to stop the oppressive nature of what you're doing in the leasing process, oppressing somebody into the property that they don't belong in, and start opening opportunities for them to shift their mind. See, this is the major problem that most people have in their leasing. They're acting like the flashlight. The flashlight is the control. The flashlight is the fear. If you don't buy this property, you don't get stainless steel appliances. The faith is, let me help you see how this fits your goal, to make sure it's the right property for them in the right area for them, and that you're on the right place for them. Leasing is not selling. That's the problem that many people make in their entire vision of this leasing process. What is leasing if it's not selling? Well, it's influence, it's vision casting, it's emotional leadership. That's what you're doing. And when you can make the shift from selling to influence, when you can make the shift from selling to vision casting, when you can make the shift from selling to emotional leadership, here's what happens. Here's what happens. When you make the shift, you become like the personal trainer I'm about to tell you about, but you're stuck. Here's why. You're treating the leasing like a transaction. You're treating it like a transaction or task that you have to do. You're focusing so much on features like the flashlight shared with you and not feelings like the floodlight shares with you. You're trying to convince, but you're not connecting with the other person. Guys, if you're online right now and you're watching this online live or you're watching on replay, comment me in the comments right now if you've ever treated leasing like it's a transaction or focused on features and not feelings or tried to convince rather than connect with somebody. Well, these are going to be my tenants. I can't connect with them. You ever heard the comments? You ever had the thought process? I can't get too close to my tenants because I don't want them taking advantage of me. Okay, that's a broken thought process. It's not a leader's thought process. Leaders connect. They don't control. They don't convince. Have you ever? It's okay if you put me in the comments and you've done this before. You're not alone. I've done this. Okay. I've made these mistakes. I've focused on the features of the property and not the feelings. One time I had a tenant that I thought that everything was correct. I thought she was in the right property. I thought she was in the right neighborhood. I even thought that this would be a perfect house for what she told me she was looking for, specific number of beds and baths. And she wanted a house that was updated and she wanted a house that had a big backyard with a fence. And I did all the things and found all the things for her. And then when we got down to it to fill out the application, she ghosted me. Why did she ghost me? Well, in that same exact situation, I was focused all on the features of the house, but I wasn't focused on the feelings that she would create long term by asking her the right question. What brought you the decision to move? See, I told you about the personal trainer. Leasing the wrong way is like a personal trainer who talks only about the equipment, but never asks you why you want to be fit. Think about it. Imagine a personal trainer walking through talking about every dumbbell, every barbell, every bench press, every leg press to you. Does that matter at all? It doesn't. When you say it like that, then you start thinking to yourself, why am I talking about these features? Right? The personal trainer is going to say, what made you come in today? Why do you want to be able to do what you're trying to do that you can't do now? What's been preventing you from already making this decision? What vision do you have for yourself? The personal trainer is doing their job if they go through and they teach them how to use a dumbbell or they share with them and show them the gym. They're doing their job, but they're not transforming lives. And that's the big difference. You've got to look at what you're doing, not as a sales process. You have to look at what you're doing as a leadership process. People don't lease square footage, they lease freedom, they lease hope, they lease stability, they lease possibility. And your job is to lead that vision into view. I'm not a script reader, guys. I'm a personal trainer for people's lives decisions. And you should be too. It is so imperative that you get this down if you're going to be leasing. Okay. You got to do what we call values-based leasing. You got to lead with value for people. People don't lease square footage, remember. They lease what it represents to them. If you miss that, your influence stays stuck. That is the whole topic of today's show. They don't lease square footage. They lease what it represents to them. And so here's the shift. We got to change our identity. You got to stop being a script reader and you got to start being a story listener. You got to stop being a feature pusher and start being a vision builder. You got to stop being the gatekeeper and you got to start being a guide to a better life. I got an exercise for us, okay? If you're watching online, in the comments, feel free to share your new identity. Where are you making a change? Where do you need to be better in the leasing process? These 5 core elements are going to help you make your decision on the new identity that you want to show up as on your next leasing call, your next leasing tour. Are you going to show up as the listener, the truth teller, the coach, the servant, the guide? Which one of these 5 are you going to show up as? If you're watching live, watching on replay, yeah, you guys, you're not going to be able to be on the screen today, but yes, if you're watching live, watch it on replay, go ahead and put in the comments right now. Do it. Which one are you going to show up as on your next leasing call? A better listener, a better coach, a better guide, a better truth teller, or a better servant? Because that's the challenge. We're not showing up as salespeople on our next sales call. We're showing up as a listener to our next person that we're trying to connect with. We're showing up as a coach to help coach them to make sure that they're making a good decision for themselves financially, morally, in what areas that they're making the decision for. We're going to guide them to what they want, not what we want them to have. We're going to be truth tellers. We're going to show up telling the truth and not giving lies or deceit or any of that kind of stuff. And we're going to show up as servants. How can we help that person? How can we serve them at the highest level? When you shift your mind, you move from flashlight to floodlight. Okay, so watch the difference. I got a blueprint for you, and this blueprint might have some help in your process. Number one, after connecting, ask emotional questions. Okay, emotional questions are going to help you better become the floodlight than the flashlight. The personal trainer versus the personal trainer that helps with transformation versus the personal trainer that just goes over the equipment. You got to ask better emotional questions. And the step two is you're going to reflect their motivations back to them. You're going to make sure that what they said to you as a listener, that you heard them and understood them. And by reflecting those back to them, then you can remove their fear without pressure, like a good coach would, helping them to make a good, wise, sound financial decision. Remember, you're not forcing people into your home. You're finding people who qualify, who meet that criteria, and who would love to be in that property. There's a big difference. And then we're going to cast clear personal vision. 4 steps, 4 easy steps that if you take these 4 steps as a truth teller, you'll easily transform your leasing process. So I want to recap things for you guys today before we finish up. Told you about 30 minutes, and we're going to finish up right at 30 minutes. You don't need more leads. You need more clarity. Truly, that's the problem. Leasing is a leadership process. It is not a pressure process. And so you got to ask emotional questions. You got to reflect back the motivation. You got to cast vision to people. And you got to remove fear without pressure. And then your identity drives influence. Your identity, how you decide to show up, to them is ultimately going to be what helps you to lease to better quality tenants and to make sure that better quality tenants want to lease the property from you. So you decide how you're going to show up each and every day. What would change if you showed up tomorrow as the guide and not the gatekeeper? What would change for you if your conversations weren't about the units, but about their future? I don't know. Just think about it. Maybe it's something you could drop me a line about. If you made that shift, you made that change, what changes for you? What change do you need to make to show up as a better listener? What change do you need to make to show up as a coach? Which change do you need to make to start showing up with this as a leadership process and not as a sales process? I do want to invite you guys to Lease Like a Conqueror. But before we get into the Lease Like a Conqueror program, if you need a mystery shop of your property, meaning you want to identify how your team's showing up, you want a written report of the reasons of maybe why you're just not moving quality leasing applicants into your property, a full report, a full mystery shop of your property. If that hits home for you, this mystery shop will go deeper into, if what we talked about today hits home for you, then this mystery shop will go even deeper into this process with you. This is the Lease Like a Conqueror process, and it starts with how you show up. And so we're going to help you to have better conversations that convert. We're going to help you not just with renters, but with your team, the ownership, yourself. I'd love to walk you through the mystery shop. It's so simple. Just put in the comments, shop me. It's that easy. My team will reach out to you. Somebody from my team will reach out to you and get you set up in a conversation with me. And that will start the process of the mystery shop for you. We'll mystery shop your building, provide you a full written report You have a one-on-one debrief session, and it'll be like a little mini leasing audit for you. And when you do that, you'll be able to show up and lease like a conqueror. Thanks, guys.